Hello, and welcome back to Screen Plaza. I know my uploads have been a little off recently. I don't know, it's just nothing interesting has been happening in the world of movies recently. I thought it'd be a really big week, but I got the date of the Snyder Cut wrong, and just nothing really happened, so this is just going to be a bit of a recap and review situation of things that I've seen recently and just a bit of a review of that. Gonna, for some reason, go in reverse order because I think I'll probably have the most to talk about the last thing. So we're gonna start off talking about Pixar's Soul. Soul has been on Disney Plus for a really long time. It went on to there in December, and I honestly don't know why I haven't watched it. I just didn't feel compelled enough to go and sit down and watch it. It's not too long, but it's quite long for a kids' film, and I really liked it. I think it's great. I'm a huge fan of jazz music, and the people who did the music also did the music for The Social Network, which I love, and so that was great to see them going and doing that. Overall, some of the more childish elements aren't as good. I'm glad they stayed with the actual story and the actual writing being very adult orientated, because it's not a kiddie story for kids. It's quite existential, and it deals with quite a lot of interesting things. And it doesn't throw in kids' jokes to try to dilute from that, and it just lets it be itself. And I think that's definitely to its credit that it's that much for adults. And you can talk about films that are adult orientated but are made for kids. This is just blows that out the water. This is an adult's film for kids, and it's just very impressive. Pixar have always been good. I've never really been their biggest fan. I've never really got the appeal. There are many that I haven't seen, but this is a fan of jazz music to see that and the musician and the way that they animated the hands in as well, and the fact that all the people look original and fresh, and the look of the film is just incredible. The animation is just off the charts, and it looks beautiful. And I also really love the character design. I love how lost souls are like these nightmarish, crumbling creatures. I like how the souls are like little innocent glows of light, and it's a beautiful film, definitely. I'd say 4.5 out of 5. You should definitely try and see this. Okay, so now's the film I actually meant to review, Cherry. God, this is a mess. And yeah, it's a weird one. I think Tom Holland isn't miscast. I think he gives a really good performance, but it does kind of detract from it because the entire thing you're constantly thinking, oh, he just wants to be taken seriously. And I think Tom Holland, I love him. He's a great actor. I'm not his biggest fan because his fan base has kind of ruined the appeal of him for me. But overall, I think he's very good. He's a very good actor, and his performance here is definitely something that redeems the film, which overall isn't very good. I saw a podcast which said that the film borrows styles from other films, and instead of doing new original stuff, it just seems to be doing things that were original in other films, and I partly agree with that. But to be honest, when I was watching it, I didn't really get that feeling. A criticism that I saw before I watched the film, and a criticism that I definitely felt was sound, is that this is a very, very long movie. There is definitely too much in here. For those of you who don't know, it's about a boy who falls in love. He goes to Iraq to serve a tour in the army, and he comes back home and he becomes addicted to drugs with his wife, and he starts robbing banks in order to cope with that. And I feel like I would have watched a film about a boy who's in love with this girl, but then has to go to Iraq. I would watch that. I would also watch a film about a drug addict who starts robbing banks, but all of them together just seems over bloated, and it doesn't feel right, which is annoying, considering that that's this movie. It's 2.5 hours of all of these great ideas that have kind of been smushed together, and I don't like it. It's very weird. There are definitely some things that I like. I think, although the ending, I feel like it should have cut off earlier. I feel like it should be about 2 minutes shorter. There's a great one-shot sequence at the end. It's good on its own, but I really don't feel like these characters should get a happy ending. Like, watching the film, it is a horrible film, and they are horrible people, and I don't mean that in the sense that it was bad to watch. That's one of the things that I give it credit for, is that it actually made me feel something while watching it, and that thing that it made me feel was horrible. I watched this at the end of a very bad day, And I don't recommend that you do the same. Watch it when you're feeling good or you're feeling passive or you want to let out some aggression, because it's a horrible film. It made me feel dirty. It made me feel like a criminal just watching it, like all the drug stuff and all the blood. It's not even like gory or overly sweary. It's just very unglamorous, and it's just not a nice thing to do, and it's not a nice thing to watch. And I think Tom Holland definitely only did it because, you know, he wants to be taken more seriously as an actor, and it does kind of pain me that he has to do that, because he shouldn't have to. I think he's trying to be seen more seriously by his fan base. He doesn't want to be like the cutesy Spider-Man, like shaves his head, and that's one of the things that I also kind of like. Like, he looks awful in this film, and he definitely wanted to shy away from like the pretty boy straight face kind of thing, and I think that's something he should do. But it's a shame that he has to do something like this, where, you know, he has to do it to be seen as a serious actor. And that's a bit of a shame, and I feel like he definitely needs to get out from under that Marvel shadow. For instance, my favourite film by him, The Current War, I know that a lot of his fans haven't even seen. So definitely watch The Current War if you call yourself a Tom Holland fan. That's for you. It's fine, I guess. Watch it if you want to. 2.7 out of 10. Now, WandaVision. This has become very contentious on the internet recently, and honestly, I don't see why. I feel like the ending overall was just people's expectations getting in the way of enjoying it for what it is. For instance, I was expecting this big thing. It's like it's Doctor Strange coming through and all of that, and partly that was because Paul Bettany, who we hate on this channel, said some stuff about there being a secret cameo, and that never came to fruition. And I think that's definitely part of the issue. I don't understand why he'd do that. Like, he knows what Marvel fans are like, and he did say it was a mistake, and I 100% agree with him. But I came to realise that, and I also came to realise that it wasn't going to be big in the week leading up to the finale. I should give some context. Basically, everyone was getting carried away with like fan theories and stuff, and then basically the director and the writer and the actors, they all came out and said some people are going to be very underwhelmed, because it's a very self-contained story. There's no like big reveals or anything. As soon as you know like who the villain is, there's not like another twist or anything, and as soon as you know who the heroes are, there's not like another twist or anything. And I was expecting that, and then it came, and it was good, and I felt it was really good. And then I went online, and I knew some people were going to be annoyed, and they really, really were. Some people absolutely despise this, and frankly, I don't get that. I would have preferred it not to be a big CGI battle. In fact, one of my favourite parts of it is where Vision stops fighting himself. Oh yeah, spoilers, by the way. And comes in with the ship of Theseus, and they have that conversation instead of actually fighting. I think that's really good, and that's proper character work, and that's how you make it good. But then Agatha and Wanda just flying around and shooting at lasers at each other wasn't really my thing. I don't really like it in Marvel movies. I find it a bit tedious. I prefer the long, clever storylines, because that's why I like Marvel primarily. It's the characters and the interconnectivity. And yeah, Kevin Feige has said that these Disney shows might not try that much. Like, they'll be important, but they're not going to go insane so the people who just watch the movies aren't lost. And frankly, I would like to see them take risks in the Disney Plus shows, and I'd like to see them do big things, and I think that's definitely going to happen with Loki, because that might be in another timeline, so that might be separate, meaning that they're allowed to do that. Frankly, I like this, and I've liked the show all the way through. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and, you know, seeing it was really, really great. There were definitely things I didn't like, for instance, the way that they included Quicksilver, but he's played by the Fox X-Men character. That was a terrible idea. I don't understand why they cast him, and frankly, that weighed down the show for me. The fact that he is the X-Men character, and you think, is this the multiverse? Is this something else? And he's Ralph Boner. Genuinely, for those who haven't seen the show, it's genuinely just a boner joke. I just can't even begin with this. And that wasn't the thing that insulted me, because, like, at least he wasn't no one. The fact is that they brought him in and cast him as Evan Peters for a reason. Like, I don't understand why they do that. And there's reasons in the story for him to be there, but overall, we never see that. Like, there's a reason in the story that is something that, I try not to do when I'm writing stuff. If there's a reason in the story, but there's no reason in the logic of the real world why you do that. For instance, the logic of the world, and I think that's good world building when you can imagine it past the show and you think there are things happening in between this, and that's good world building. But, in the logic of the real world, if you never see that in the show, then what's really the point? And I think that was an issue for me, and other people were just annoyed. I wasn't too annoyed, but the more I think about it, the more it kind of disappoints me. I'm really excited for Falcon Winter Soldier. It's not the Disney Plus show that I'm most excited for, but I am definitely looking forward to it, I'd say. So, WandaVision, 4.5 out of 5. Listen to Agatha all along. I'll probably see some more films by the time this comes out, I don't know. If you want to see me talk about them, follow my Instagram. It's at Screen Plaza. Go ahead, follow that. I'll be doing polls and things for what you want to see. I have seen a lot. And honestly, if I had to pick one thing that I think was the best I've seen, it would probably be Soul. Definitely watch that. I've got some more video ideas that I'd like to do. They should be coming soon. But other than that, thanks for watching. Goodbye.